Hey folks, how's it going? Mark here with Front Seat Reviews, and today I wanted to go ahead and give you guys a quick update on Autopilot on the freeway. So this is again the free version of Autopilot. It's not the full self-driving. Reason why I'm making this update is because I've had a couple of questions from you guys, comments, and then also how much it differs from full self-driving, right? Especially on the freeway. I mean, as even now we're on the streets here and we could see that I can go ahead and engage it. And I've already mentioned before in my previous video, I wouldn't exactly trust it on the streets, but you know, it's there if you want to go ahead and try it out. So we'll just go ahead and hop on a freeway real quick and I'll give you guys my thoughts. Okay, chat, we're just about to hit the on-ramp for the freeway. And of course, what I like to do is I always switch it to standard as I get on the freeway. For the most part, I usually drive my car in chill mode, except for when I'm on the freeway or I just want to drive a bit faster. All right, so now that we're gonna go ahead and merge onto the freeway, I'll go ahead and get on the leftmost lane. This guy, you'll let me go over a little bit. All right, and we'll be good here. So I'll go ahead and engage Autopilot. I usually have it set to where the max is 70, as that's the most efficient that this car drives at this, you know, speed. So I have mine set as you know, just one push, one click, and now we're cruising, we're chilling. So this is standard Autopilot, not to be confused with full self-driving. This will ask you to put your hands back on the steering wheel and that sort of thing. I have a little tip that I'll share in a bit to alleviate that or get rid of that completely. So I'll just wait for it to kind of prompt me to put my hands on the steering wheel again, and then I could go ahead and show you guys really quick the settings that I have, in case any of you want to just see that. But yeah, so Autopilot, standard Autopilot, free Autopilot, basic Autopilot is what it's called on the Tesla app. It works fantastic. I've already taken it to Solvang, to Palm Springs, and to San Diego, and I've done the drive exclusively on Autopilot without any hiccups whatsoever. I know people have mentioned issues with phantom braking. I haven't ran into any of those, thankfully. I have ran into that on full self-driving on my way to Solvang once, and it kind of freaked me out a bit. And as you can see, the car in front of us is kind of started to brake a little, and Autopilot's working perfectly. So this is just me personally. I usually keep my foot close to the pedals just in case, for whatever reason, I have to go ahead and take control of the vehicle real quick. But that's just me. But I feel very confident in this system. I currently have I had it at 3. We'll keep it at 3. And as you can see, it's been a minute since it's asked me to put it's been a minute since I've engaged it, and it still hasn't asked me to put my hands on the steering wheel as of yet. And I want to say, I think that's because of an update that they did with that camera. So it looks and it tracks your eyes, right? It tracks where you're paying attention to. And if it sees that you're looking around this way or doing something over here, it may go ahead and prompt you to put your hands on the steering wheel. And for some odd reason, it hasn't told me to put my hands on the steering wheel as of yet. But talking about my tip, right? Oh, there it is. So finally, right? So all you have to do is just jiggle a little bit. And one tip that I do have is that when you're on Autopilot, if you keep your hands on the steering wheel, it won't tell you to put your hands on the steering wheel again. It won't ask you for a slight. This guy still has a signal on. It won't tell you to put your hands on the steering wheel, right? So if you could, you know, I'm comfortable like this. I'm comfortable like this as well. But one tip I do have is, if you're really, you know, wanting to kind of relax and lounge out a bit, you put your hand like this, and it won't tell you to put your hand on the steering wheel. So for the remainder of this video, I'll go ahead and keep my hand here just to kind of prove it to the chat here. That all you really need to do is just have your hand right here. But again, comparisons to full self-driving, right? This won't do the lane changes for you. It won't do any of that sort. But it will stay in the lane. It will brake and accelerate as need be. It will follow the curvature of the lane and that sort of thing, and it does it fantastically. One thing I will say that I have experienced is when it comes to stop and go traffic. On Autopilot, it does seem to kind of brake a bit more abruptly than I'd like compared to full self-driving. You can tell full self-driving, it's much more polished. It's much more, it feels more natural. But one way that I kind of learned to alleviate that is when we're in stop and go traffic, what I do is I usually go ahead and I deactivate autopilot and then just re-engage it. I found that works pretty perfectly for me, and I also very much use it for when we're in ongoing traffic, how it is here, right? It's pretty good, it's calm, we're cruising at a good 60. We could go ahead and get a tad bit closer. But when traffic comes to a complete stop, sometimes I feel like the car doesn't really sense it as well as it should. And so what I'll do, I'll go ahead and just disengage autopilot. The car will brake on its own. As you guys know, it auto regenerates when nothing's on the, your foot's not on the pedal or anything like that. So that's kind of the way that that's my method to kind of alleviate the, the harshness of the road, and the harshness, not of the road, but of the car reacting to certain things on the road, right? Again, I've tried it for pretty long distance road trips. I'll put my hand back on the steering wheel right here, just so it still hasn't said anything yet, and it won't. I've been doing this already. I've tried it on 3 separate 2-hour road trips. It's about 2 hours to San Diego, about 2 hours to Palm Springs. It was actually 2.5 hours to Palm Springs, and then about same thing, like 2.5-3 hours to Solvang. And I've had this with no issues. All I do is just activate it, and just up until my last trip to Palm Springs, I realized that I could put my hand right here and it won't tell me to put my hand back on the steering wheel. I guess it feels the weight of my hand, or it feels that there's something that the steering wheel is catching, or some sort of sensitivity that it's tracking, that it knows that there's a hand on the steering wheel, or there's something on the steering wheel. So yeah, I just wanted to go ahead and make this quick video just to kind of give my thoughts again on autopilot. And I'm speaking strictly just on the freeway, on highways like this. On the streets, again, I don't use it. I'd much rather just enjoy the car and drive myself. But on the freeway, this is so easy to do, especially if you have long commutes, going to and from work, or on a road trip someplace. As always, I always do caution to always be at the ready in case you ever need to take control of the vehicle. That's just with anything. I recommend that for full self-driving as well. But one question that I did was thinking about as I was making this video is full self-driving. Do you need it? Do you need it? No. It is nice to have, and it's a really cool trick, especially when you have passengers, kind of letting the car drive on its own completely without any, driver interference. But with this is just as fine. You could be right here, talking to somebody here, hey, shawty, how you doing? And the car won't nag at you or anything. But yeah, I mean, I think that's pretty much it. I just wanted to just share a quick update on how autopilot works, and just wanted to give a huge shout out to the folks that commented on my previous autopilot video. I appreciate it. It's stuff like that kind of makes me want to keep going, and well, it makes me keep going, but it also gives me ideas for new videos. And this update on autopilot as of March 2025 works fantastic. As you can see, there hasn't been any sort of hiccup. We've only been driving for a bit as well, so there hasn't been any sort of hiccup here and there, and the car's cruising along really nicely. And other than that, that's pretty much all I have for this one. Just want to again thank you guys for your comments and your questions on the previous video. Thank you for watching. If you stuck around, if you like this type of stuff, please give me a like, maybe even subscribe. I got more stuff coming out. I am going to Vegas in about 2 weeks, and I will be making a quick little video of how that road trip will be. It's a 4-hour drive from me. So, like for instance here, where I feel like the car's a little, I'll go ahead and disengage, give a little bit of room, and then we're off to the races again. Kind of glad I was able to kind of show that a bit. So yeah, other than that, that's pretty much all I have. This is Mark with Front Seat Reviews. Thank you, chat. You guys have a good one. Peace.